Okay, hello folks, and welcome back to Build Stuff 2021, a live online hybrid event. Some of you folks out there watching this on a big cinema screen in Vilnius, hello to all of you. Some of you out there watching this online in whatever countries and time zones you call home, or wherever you happen to be right now, which is also fine. Hello to all of you as well. So our next session is, this one's actually pre-recorded, so we are gonna sit back and roll the tape, and there will not be any questions and answer at the end, but I believe there's some contact information in the recording if you do have any questions and want to follow up. But please welcome to Build Stuff with PowerPlatform DIY and revolutionary ways to build business solutions using Power Apps and the Power Platform. Please welcome Ricardo Calejo.
Hi everyone. So my name is Ricardo Calejo. It's an absolute pleasure to be on this event, Build Stuff event. Great speakers, great people, and thank you again for being here and listening to my session. So I'm gonna start by presenting my session. So as I've said, my name is Ricardo Calejo. I'm the head of DevScope Portals team. I have a fantastic team here in Portugal doing Power Platform and SharePoint Office 365 projects. I'm the co-founder of the Portuguese Power Platform community. And you can have my email and also my Twitter if you want to follow me and send me any private messages if you want regarding any questions regarding Power Platform. So what are we going to talk today? We are going to meet a little bit more about the Power Platform, more regarding Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Virtual Agents. We're going to see some demos and some real scenarios that we did in some of our clients and try to understand how the Microsoft ecosystem works very well in a very integrated way. Okay. Just for you to understand, low code is not fad. Okay, low code is something that you should be aware of. It's also something that the Gartner says that 65% of enterprise applications will be developed via low code by 2024. Okay, and this is huge. It's huge because it's a big impact in your business. For you to understand, and regarding Power Apps, that is something inside the Power Platform, 86% of the Fortune 500 companies are already using Power Apps. Okay, and it's growing each year because of the Microsoft ecosystem. So this is not a fad. Okay, why is it so important for your business? Just for you to understand a little bit about the vision of Microsoft, the main vision is to empower your business user. Okay, so the main idea behind this is that the business user shouldn't know how to code. It knows how to handle some processes inside your company and probably has been doing some things around Excel, Access, and those kind of things that are islands in your company. But they want to be empowered and centralize that information. And for that, Microsoft thought of a suite of applications like Power BI for reporting, Power Apps for application development, or for information input, Power Automate for workflow automation and integration with other systems, and Power Virtual Agent for chatbots. All these are low-code applications because they produce enterprise applications that you can then use in your enterprise. Okay, so on top of this, and this is built on, actually those are built in the same way, and those use the common data service that mostly is known today as Dataverse. Okay, there is somewhere that you can aggregate your information from your organization, data connectors to connect to SQL servers, Oracle databases, web services, etc. And the AI builder, that's something that it turns more easier to do AI with these kind of tools. Okay, so as I said, Microsoft vision is to empower everyone to innovate in one connected app platform. Okay, so obviously with this, you can now have information on your system, then you can have reporting on top of that information, and then you can integrate information everywhere. Okay, but naturally, when with great power comes great responsibility, and it changes the paradigm in some way, because you may ask, where is now IT on this on this subject? So you want to give the empowerment to your business users to do apps, to do reporting, to do workflows, you know. But now you need to manage these in some way, and there where it comes the your IT, and your IT needs to centralize the information somewhere in the cloud. You need to governance that information. You need to put security on that information, but that is all integrated in the Microsoft admin center, where you can manage this, all of this, and you can turn more efficient the way the users are going to work. But this is probably is a more bigger conversation. Okay, I will leave it that for my other speakers to do. But as I said, the main idea behind this is to build fast web apps, web or mobile apps, okay? Gain insights from the information that you produce, and obviously you need to have security and governance on top of this, okay? So starting on Power Apps, what is Power Apps? So Power Apps is the way to rapidly create an application across your business systems. So you know that you have the information somewhere in your enterprise. You need to capture that information and obviously submit that information somewhere. So you can create an app very easily and very fast, okay, by publishing the app quickly, okay? And obviously, this engages business users to do this. And why? Because it is very similar to what they do today. And by saying that, there are a lot of apps, obviously, that you can produce with Power Apps, like surveys, like help desk systems, like time tracking systems. And obviously, as this is integrated natively with SharePoint, you can connect to SharePoint information that you have. And within days, you can actually have an app. The good thing behind this is that you can produce an app quite easily, and then you can evolve the app. In DevScope, we usually say start small, grow big. And what we usually do is something quick and fast, and then we can create the rest in different phases. So just for you to understand, there are two types of Powerapps apps. There are the Canvas apps and the module-driven apps. The Canvas apps are apps that can work on mobile, web, tablets, okay? They are highly customizable in terms of layouts, in terms of forms, dispositions, and can obviously get input from different sources of data. The model-driven apps, it's quite simple. It's a little bit different because it works on top of Dataverse, and Dataverse has model relationships, business processes that automatically will create fast apps to, I would say, more enterprise scenarios. Okay. Some of the Powerapps advantages, obviously, is as you are in the cloud and Powerapps lives in the cloud, obviously Microsoft is always updating it with new features. Actually, the last, if you have the opportunity, go see the last Ignite announcements. There are a lot of announcements they did for Powerapps, which is good. Okay. The connectors that they have it, and obviously the mobile friendliness of it, it's something that you should quickly understand, because you quickly put an app on your employees' hands. Think like this: if you have employees that already do mega huge applications with Excel, as you probably may know, inside your organization, they will quickly adapt to Power Apps, because in terms of language, it's quite the same. It's the formulas language. So for instance, when you have references in your Excel, it's the same in Power Apps, where you can reference these different fields. So, and this is an overview about Power Apps. Regarding Power Automate will complement, obviously, the Power App side, because when you introduce the information, now you need to treat that information. You need to notify someone. You need to integrate that information somewhere. You need to create a workflow for some department. But what you can do easily is you can have a quick tool that is called Microsoft Power Automate, where you can create branches, loops, triggers of information every time you send some information to somewhere. So for you to understand what is a flow inside Power Automate, it starts always with a trigger or an event. For instance, when you create a record on Microsoft Dynamics or SharePoint or a SQL Server, then you can pull that data out and then create an action with it. So you can perform as many actions as you want, in subsequent actions with that information. Okay, so you have 4 types of flows. The scheduled flows, as the name says, you can schedule an hour a day or specific days for the flow to run. The automated flows that are run by triggers, like I said, from when you create an item on SQL or when you create an item on SharePoint, automatically runs, and then it will create a trigger behind it. The instant flows, that is when someone specifically wants to run a flow, and the business process flows that are inside the model-driven apps that are specific for business processes. So, as you can understand, and to be easier for someone from the business side to understand a little bit about Power Automates, there are hundreds of useful templates that you can obviously use from first instance, and it's one of the biggest things that you should look before starting using Power Automate. For example, when you want to send an exchange email when a new file is added on Dropbox, there is a trigger for Dropbox. When someone puts a file inside a folder, it can then create a notification for someone with the information about that file for a certain person or someone that you choose. And obviously, if something goes wrong, you can always see and debug the information from a flow, okay? And it gives you all the details that you need in order to correct your flow or not. Finally, the last child of the Power Platform is Power Virtual Agents. Power Virtual Agents is the easy way or the fastest way to create a chatbot. Obviously, for business users, probably the chatbot won't be so intelligent as it should be a more developed chatbot, but it's something that you can use for a beginning and try to understand the principles behind the chatbot. For you to understand, there are a lot of buzz inside companies about chatbots. It's something that is increasingly growing every year. And for you to understand, you can already use this if you have teams on your company. You can use Power Virtual Agents for free and create a chatbot easily by asking questions to in a chat and getting the answers that you can pull from other side. And obviously, this is all integrated with Power Automate because Power Automate will serve as a proxy to obviously orchestrate the information that is extracted by the chatbot to other systems. And I will show you that in a demo. Like I said, this is all already integrated with Microsoft Teams, and you can already check this out. Okay. What I'm going to talk a little bit now for you to understand the power of the Power Platform is not a so typical business case that we had here in Portugal at an hospital, but it's a huge case for you to understand the quickness and the usefulness of the Power Platform. So I met this guy called Tiago Teixeira from the Hospital of Gaia, that is director of infectiology, and he told me when in the beginning of the COVID that he had to launch the tent in the hospital to do this patient screening. And obviously, at the time, there was an increased number of COVID-19 patients every day. The screening was being made by paper, which obviously is not perfect because you could have data not collected so easily. And obviously, in the end, the medical specialist could decide wrongly on the destination of the patient. So based on some certain parameters. So the workflow was something like this. The patient would arrive, the medical specialist would collect some information about the patient, like saturation, temperature, symptoms, diseases, and based on that information, the patient would decide if he would go home or the ICU, or he should go to do the COVID-19 exam. So basically, something quite simple, but as you know, paper, it was a problem. So we decided to help this hospital in the beginning of COVID. And how did we do it? I'm going to show you just for you to understand. So they already had a simple list with some SharePoint list, by the way, where they would be tracking some information from the users, from the patients, sorry. And what we did was we added some columns, we added some information to this list, and then we said, wouldn't it be cool to have a tablet for the medical specialist where they could input this information and also have the destination already defined on the app based on the parameters. And we did that. We created a Power App very easily, where we created where we input information about the patient. I'm going to input my information here. I will tell my age, my number, my sex, and my symptoms and comorbidities. And regarding the oxygen, I don't know if this is a great value or not, but I'm not the medical specialist here. But as you can see, with that information already done, what is going to tell me if the patient will go to the ICU, will go home, or should go take the medical exam. Obviously, the system should not be the owner of the final decision. So the medical always can always decide about this. And this simple thing, okay, we now have some information on lists. And obviously, now we can start tracking information on Power BI. As you can see, we created a reporting where they can check some information here. Who is collecting in terms of medical specialists, who is collecting more patients every day, the number of patients by destiny, the age, the sex, etc. And for you to understand, this had so much success, they are still using it to track COVID today. And by the way, they the speed of collection of patient increased ginormously, and the medical specialists collecting information were a lot more. There was a near real-time information analysis, and obviously the paper is not a secure thing for COVID. There was obviously a paper-free circuit now. And as you can see, they are now using the app inside the tents every day and collecting the information every day. So how long did we took it to do this? 2 days. And this is the secret behind Powerapps and the Power Platform. As you can imagine, and I always kid around with Thiago because we took less time to do the app than the tablets to arrive, which is funny. Okay, so usually it's the other way around, but in this case, we created something so easily and so fast for them to use, and now they are still using, they are still upgrading features every day. And obviously, as they use Teams, this is all integrated inside Teams, and the East team can check the status of information every day. So this is what I wanted to see for you to understand the quickness and the integration behind this is so fast and so critical that easily we solved the problem and did not took a month to do it. Otherwise, it wouldn't matter. So now I'm going to show you some quick demos of how you can integrate, obviously, all of these things with Powerapps, Power Automate, and Power Virtual Agents. So starting by the Powerapps, okay, here is the maker of Powerapps, where you can start by doing a Powerapp. And obviously, inside my company, I already have a sales quotes list. Okay, so somewhere in my organization, someone already had done this. And what I want to do now is, okay, but I want to create a mobile app for my salespeople to go and take and obviously do this when they are on their clients. So for you to imagine, if you already have a list, you can connect and create an app, a SharePoint, where you can, for example, connect to this. I want to connect to this SharePoint site, and I want to choose the quotes list. And what this is going to do is it's going to create an out-of-the-box app for me with the CRUD operations like creation, read, update, and delete. Okay, and out of the box, you can already see that you have a mobile app that you can distribute inside the organization, and you can check the details. You can create a new one. You can edit an existing one. But now what I want to do is I simply want to change a little bit about the intelligence of this form. And I don't want some things like the attachments, just want to simply remove it. And I want the quote value here to be calculated automatically between a multiplication between the workdays and the rate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this value. Okay. And I will say that the workdays, that is data card value name, value 9. And by the way, you should always change the names of the input data. And I want to multiply by the rate card, that is data card value 11. Okay, so now every time I change this value, it automatically will change this, and it's now giving a little bit more intelligence to my form. Also, I don't want the approval status, and I want to finish this here. But in the list section, in the list view, I also do not want the workdays, but I want to add, for example, the quote value. And I want this in euros. Okay, so I could simply say quote the value. It's this. Okay, but obviously I could change this. And now that I have my app here, I could simply say, okay, I'm gonna save this quote demo, sorry, build stuff demo, and save it. And only me would be able to access because I'm the one who's developing the app. But now, if I wanted to share this with my organization, I'd simply say, okay, now I want to share with everyone, or I could share with a certain security group, etc. Okay, so I easily done a quick app now that I can use. And I can use this either on web, either on a Windows mobile app, or my iPhone or my Android with the Powerapps app. Okay. Now, I also want to give some intelligence to my app. And by the way, when I will create here a client's name, build stuff, events, and which will have 30 days, portals type, and rate would be 500. And I won't put the address, okay, it's not important. And as you can see, the quote is already here. And you can now see here, viewer to older. that I have my new quote here, but now I want to have the approval from my manager for this quote. And for that, I just need a Power Automate flow to do that. So I've created a flow that I could change the name, obviously, but for you to understand, that has a trigger, okay, with this site address, with this list that I've previously shown you. And every time a new item is created, which will run this, it will start an approval with an email sent for the user. Not only an email, but the Teams notification will be sent to that person. And it will wait for the answer for the approval. And if the response is approved, I will send an email for the person saying that the file was approved, the quote was approved, and set as approved on the actual item. Then, if not, I will do the same thing, but reject it, okay? So in order for you to understand how this works, I will do a manually test, okay? So this is what this is going to do. As you can see, it will wait for a new item to be created. So I'm going to my app again. I will say build stuff item 2. I will tell the workdays, project type, the rate doesn't matter, the address, my address somewhere, and I will do it. Obviously, in the list, it will appear here, the new item. And regarding the workflow, I'm sorry, because the workflow, okay, it's running here. Okay, as already saw that I've created an item here, okay, extracted all the information here and started an approval. And if I go to my email, it didn't receive it yet, but hopefully it has received it yet or not. Let's wait just a little bit longer. But I should receive an email where it will ask me for an approval. And then directly on the email, I will say if I approve or not. Let me just, okay, and it's already here. It has both items that I've created previously, but regarding the second one, you can see a card here inside my email where you can approve or reject this quote. And I would say, okay, it's approved. And I will submit this. And as you can see, the status changed even if you change your email here. And now the workflow will keep running, okay? And we'll change the status of that item that I've previously created as updated. Let me just check here. And as you can see, it is already approved. Let me just refresh this. Okay. Oh no, it's this one, sorry. And as you can see, your request for build stuff, it was now approved. Okay. And you saw it went the path that I chose. Okay. So this is something that you can complement your apps with. Okay, but now I really want to do some reporting on top of this list. And I've created a Power BI here, a simple Power BI. Don't mind the ugliness of it, okay? But the Power BI tells me some usable information. But as you can see, I also can add my Power App inside the reporting. And when I do this, I can easily connect the information from Power BI to the Power App. And every time that I click somewhere, you can see the information being filtered on your app. Obviously, the great thing about this is you can also submit a new item or create a new item here or update a new item. And every time that you do this, it automatically will refresh the report. But as you can see, this is quite a powerful thing to have inside your report, because now you can not only visualize information, but you can also edit that information. Okay. And as you can see, the integration behind this is very smooth. Finally, we will go to talk about the chatbots. So at my company, we usually have a chatbot in our site that we have to ask if the people want to ask us a proposal or a quote. And what I've created was a simple list, okay, to extract some information about the opportunity. And for that, now I created with Power Virtual Agents something, that I will want to extract the information. Okay, so for that, I created a new topic inside of Power Virtual Agents for a new opportunity. And my chatbot will be triggered when someone says one of these key phrases. Obviously, I could add more key phrases. Obviously, I could understand what type of phrases people are doing inside my chatbot with analytics. But for now, I've created only these trigger phrases. And for you to understand how this workflow works, okay, every time someone quickly says one of these phrases, it will ask me some information. It will have some workflow here to do this. And you can see, so you can trigger your chatbot and understand the flow of the conversation. So I would say, I want a quote. And you can see now that it's asking for my name. And there is already a type of variables for names, for emails, where the chatbot can extract those kind of things from a phrase from the conversation. And my company name, build stuff. And my email is I want a huge BI project. Those are my only requirements. That's what usually our clients say. Okay, but I have now a multiple answer that he can give us. Can you share the budget with us? I can click yes or write yes, okay? And say, what is your budget? Budget is 500. And now, with the integration behind chatbot with Power Virtual Agents and the flows, I can create a flow that will integrate this information that I extracted from the chatbot to my SharePoint. And for instance, for you to see what is the how it is an integration, you can see that if it opens, obviously, let me just click again. Okay, so every time someone sends the input data, I will create an item on the SharePoint list, and then I will send an email for that person with that information and say to virtual agents, okay, I could send some information for that. Or even if I wanted to, for example, do a query about this client by his email and extract and then send more information on the email, I could do that. And this is the simpleness of things that you can do around chatbots and Power Automate and Power BI and Power Apps. Okay, so in a matter of 20 minutes or less, I've created a Power App, I've created a workflow, and then I said, and I had my chatbot that I now can publish on my website or on Teams. Quite easily to do. For example, you have here a demo website where you can see your chatbot implemented, and you can test it here directly. And it will ask me the same things about the chatbot. And finally, because the great thing about the Power Platform is that it's already integrated with SharePoint. And SharePoint, you can use your out-of-the-box licenses to connect to SharePoint because it's free. And not only you can connect to the information on SharePoint, but you can customize your SharePoint forms with Power Apps, okay, to turn the experience more likable, as you should do with workflows. Workflows on SharePoint workflows are now deprecated, and you should use Power Automate to do those workflows. And the great thing is that obviously, if you want to do with Power BI, Power BI can also be used for to show that information inside SharePoint with a web part. You can also get information from Power BI with those connectors. And obviously, even if you have a SharePoint on-prem, you should use a gateway to do that. And naturally, why do people use so much SharePoint as data data storage place to do this? Not that I'm the biggest fan of put all the data on top of SharePoint, but obviously SharePoint already has those kind of things that you can use, like versioning, like offline access, file level permissions that come out of the box with the system that you can use. Obviously, you should always think about using SharePoint versus Dataverse when thinking about what is important information within your organization and where is going to be centralized. And that's always a big discussion. So to finish this, there are a lot of connectors on top of the Power Platform. You can use a lot of them. There is an independent publisher program that are people that are constantly every month publishing new connectors to the ecosystem. So don't worry, you can always connect to your system. And just this is a fun thing. When SharePoint in the old days was the master behind InfoPath, SharePoint Designer, Link, and those kind of things. Now you can see that the youngsters are now Power Automate, Power Apps, Teams, Power BI, and we are seeing the SharePoint in the middle every time. So if you want to build things behind Power BI, Power Apps, and those kind of things, go ahead, check this out. Obviously, they do not live alone, and there is always Azure behind this. If you want to complement the scenarios that you have to wider pictures, okay, but you can use Azure. But obviously, this is not for the business users. It's going to be at the other level for developers. But we are seeing a huge difference now in everyday lives in our organizations, and obviously, we want the business to be empowered. We want the business to know what they want to see in an app, and obviously, the shift will be great in the future. Thank you very much, guys, for checking my session. Hopefully, I will talk to you someday. And if you have any questions for me, let me know. Send me an email, and I'll gladly help you on that. Thank you very much once again.